Okay. You guys should be able to hear me well. Um, for those of you guys who are wondering what the 2 hours of sleep edition means, it means that I'm running on 2 hours of sleep. I've been up since like 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Like, I am exhausted. I had a long night the other night, and I had a long night last night. Last night I was going through and I was looking through all the Deadpool core stuff and trying to figure out like what I should do and what characters are worth doing, because not the problem with the Deadpool core is a lot of the Deadpool core characters, like 99% of them, we actually see in Deadpool Kills Deadpool. There's like a handful of them that we see before then. And so those of you guys who are asking about like Panda Pool, Panda Pool is going to be a little bit difficult to do because we won't see Panda Pool until Deadpool kills Deadpool. So we can't really do a lead up. But in any event, I think it'll be a fun series of videos because anything Deadpool related seems to be you guys really seem to love it. So with that being said, let's see. Um, let's uh, let's scroll through here. How's everybody doing today? How are you guys doing this morning? Why are you guys not in church? Okay. Um, let's scroll up. Oh, okay. Questions haven't started coming in yet. Oh yeah, somebody asked about the hitbox. Okay, so for those of you guys who are following the Weekly Pool podcast, we had an announcement at the end of the podcast, last one we did, that the Weekly Pool is moving to hitbox. If you guys are ever curious about updates for the Weekly Pool, different things like that, you can always check the weeklypool.net and go to the forums, and that'll basically give you Tiffany and Danielle are really good at making announcements for the website as well as what we plan on doing with the podcast. But you can always follow myself, Benny, and Sal on Twitter at Sal Says What and Comic Storian and Comics Explained, and we'll always keep you guys posted on what's going on with the website and what's going on with the podcast and so on and so forth. So I'm glad you guys are doing well. We will do a Spawn Explained at some point in time. I can't tell you exactly when, just because right now, like quite literally, Convergence and Secret Wars are right around the corner. So in truth, we probably won't have a whole lot of time to do Spawn. We just don't really have a whole lot of time to focus on him. Another thing I want to ask you guys while you guys are fresh into this podcast, and I might wait, or I guess fresh into this live stream, I may wait towards the end to ask this, which I think I will because a lot of people are probably going to be rolling in by then. But this one's going to be relatively short. We're going to keep this one at about half an hour, 45 minutes, because again, I am very tired. So I am very exhausted right now, but I love doing comics and coffee because I love talking to you guys. I think that interacting, I think YouTubers interacting with their fan base is one of the most important things, and I think a lot of YouTubers don't do that. I think a lot of YouTubers are just like, here's content, and then you just never really like talk to them on a personal level. So, for those of you guys who are new to Comics and Coffee is just a general name because this is a comic book channel, but this is a Q&A, so you guys can ask me pretty much anything, and if I'm comfortable answering it, then I will. If not, then I'll just be like, I'm not going to answer that, or I'll just ignore your question. It's a terrible thing to do, I know, but what else? What else can we do? What do I think the aftermath of Secret Wars will be? Well, Tom Brevoort pretty much told us during the Marvel announcement what the world is going to be like. What he's basically saying now is this really the Church of Rob? It's really kind of difficult to wrap around. Like even now, I'm trying to wrap my head around it because it's so different from what we've been experiencing. But right now, there's this great big huge Marvel multiverse, and there's no real like format to it. It's just universes are out there, and sometimes we see them, sometimes we don't. There's no real design for why they do what they do. What Marvel's doing is they're consolidating all of it, and they're saying this battle world is going to hold all the multiverses. So think of it as though this battle world is a giant jar, and inside of this jar are a series of golf balls, each of these golf balls representing its own universe. So X-Men 92 is going to be its own universe. Spider-Verse will be its own universe. We'll probably see multiple versions of J. Jonah Jameson, within each of these individual universes. We'll see a version of J. Jonah Jameson maybe in X-Men 92 if we see them crossing over with that version of Spider-Man. We may see J. Jonah Jameson in I don't know, Age of Apocalypse. If we see, if they decide to go that route, they actually decide to introduce this character in. It's just one of those weird things. That's the direction things are going in. So what we're going to be having during Secret Wars, I guess once all that comes to an end, that's what the universe is going to be. That's what the multiverse is going to be. So what you see is what you get when it comes to Secret Wars. I do need some coffee. How much did you like Howard the Duck number one? I actually haven't read Howard the Duck number one. I'm not the biggest fan of Howard the Duck. I thought he was kind of a goofy character, but I may check him out. I may check out Howard the Duck number one and see what I think. Can I stand up and dance? No. I'm not going to stand up and dance. Any chance of explaining Ben Riley? Unless Ben Riley comes back as part of Spider Verse, which he's not. I mean, they killed him off. I don't really see a reason to. His character is dead now, so I don't really see a reason to explain Ben Riley. I don't know. We may do that at some point in time, but let's see. How did Deadpool get in the multiverse? Because last time he was in real life watching the writers of the book after he killed Swamp Thing. Okay, that one's actually kind of an interesting question. If you recall, I think because this is Level Up Row that asked this question. I have a feeling that where you stopped was Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe. They have what's called a Deadpool Killogy. It's a three-part series. It's Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, Deadpool Killustrated, and then Deadpool kills Deadpool. We already did Deadpool Killustrated. So if you're wondering how it is that this alternate universe version of Deadpool ends up in, I guess, in this multiverse, then go back and watch the Deadpool Killustrated, and that'll explain everything. So. But I guess to answer your question in a really short roundabout way, what happened was at some point along the line, after he presumably killed the writers, then he ended up jumping into the multiverse from there. Like he had a multi-dimensional transporter, and he ended up in the reality of oh god, what were their names? The Mad Thinker and these different guys used their multi-dimensional teleporter and began hopping around the dimension, killing off the archetypes for superheroes. That was the basis for Deadpool Illustrated. In my opinion, it wasn't the best Deadpool story, but nonetheless, it's part of the trilogy. So let's see. Do you have any idea what's going on with Captain Marvel and the Carol Corps? Is it a multiversal group of Carol Danvers? That we're actually not sure about. I have a feeling that the Carol Corps is going to be like the Nova Corps. It's going to be Captain Marvel, and it's going to be all these different versions of Captain Marvel, different alternate reality versions of Captain Marvel. It may not just be Carol Danvers. Anybody that took up the role of being Captain Marvel in an alternate reality may very well be housed in there. Tom Brevoort didn't really give us a whole lot of information. It wasn't like it was with Thor Corps, where he said that Thor Corps is going to be every single version of Thor that we've ever seen that's ever existed in Marvel Comics. He didn't really give us any details about the Captain Marvel Corps, but I assume it'll be like that. I don't really see a reason why it wouldn't. But either way, like I'm definitely going to check it out. I mean, I hope you guys are too, because I think that the Captain Marvel Corps will be pretty cool. What four Marvel characters would you like to see in a Netflix series after the Four Defenders finish? Oh God. I mean, the cool thing about Netflix, about having a show on Netflix, is you can do pretty much anything you want to. Like, you can get away with a lot of stuff. You can have adult-oriented content if you wanted to, by simply citing the fact that it's not network television, and so those rules don't apply. I would want to see some dark and gritty characters, like Deadpool, definitely. I'd want to see a Deadpool Netflix series. They can have all the humor. They can have all the humor, but it also needs to have, like, the really dark element of Deadpool, like him just having that really dark humor and just murdering people in the blood and the gore and all that kind of stuff. That's a staple of Deadpool comics. That definitely needs to happen. I'd like to see a darker and grittier X-Men series, like one where I guess the X-Men are where they cuss and where they carry on and where you see a lot of violence and everything like that. I'd like to see that as a series. I think it'd actually be pretty cool. Aside from that, maybe The Punisher. I think The Punisher would be a great series for Netflix just because of the nature of The Punisher of Frank Castle. And I don't know. I don't know. You guys answer that one. Who would be your fourth pick? Moon Knight's a good one. Moon Knight would be a great series to have on Netflix. Oh my God. That would be awesome. Let's see. Do I know what Deadpool I'm doing next? Well, I asked the question at the end of the video, which Deadpool people wanted me to do. If they wanted, like, I basically left it to you guys to decide. And at the moment, right now, I think it's actually a pretty close call between Headpool, Zombie Deadpool, and Lady Deadpool. So we may just end up doing Lady Deadpool and then get into Headpool next, just because I don't know. Maybe we'll do Headpool first because Headpool leads into Lady Deadpool, like the Deadpool Merc with a mouth. That leads into that story. So I don't know. Either way, like we'll figure it out. Let's see. Rob is a genius. I'd never thought of a Netflix Deadpool series. I'm sure a lot of people have thought of a Deadpool Netflix series. Let's see. Darkhold Redeemers. Thoughts on the latest episode of The Flash? Oh, man. Okay. I assume, and spoiler alert for everybody who hasn't seen The Flash yet, I assume that you're talking about with the most recent episode, the one where we learn that what's his name is actually Eobard Thawne. Thrawn, I guess is his last name. I don't remember how to pronounce his last name, but he's Professor Zoom, basically the Reverse Flash, where he came out and admitted that, and where Barry Allen ended up jumping into the past by like an hour, I think, or something like that. That's huge because I think DC's setting up for the Flashpoint event. So here's what I think DC was doing. I think they were experimenting. They were, at least I hope this is what they were doing. They were taking Arrow, they were taking The Flash, they were saying, let's do these shows and see what's going on. And no, I'm not gay. And let's see what's going on. And I think that with the resounding success of The Flash and Arrow, I think what this has done is it's given them a trump card. If at some point along the line the writing for the shows begin to tank off, the writing for the shows begin to sort of dissipate, or they begin to go south, people begin to lose interest in the Flash, they begin to lose interest in Arrow, and they lose interest in, all these different things, then that means that they could basically launch Flashpoint and the Flash TV show, and they could come back and they could say, okay, Gotham and Supergirl and Arrow and Flash, all these shows are reset and now they share a single continuity, which I think would be an awesome idea. But again, that's really just kind of speculation on my part. Anyway, so spoilers are done. Spoilers are over. But yeah, let's see. Do I think Eddie will become a Reverse Flash? I don't think so. It's possible, but I don't think so. I think he's too solid of a character to take that route. Let's see. Your voice doesn't really match your appearance. I thought you would look different, darker and thinner. Not trying to offend. That's one of the funny things is very rarely do voices ever match the physical appearance. Or for some reason, we always like build up what we think people look like in our heads, and then we see them and we're like, well, that's kind of weird. That's not what I expected. Like, okay, here's a perfect example. So New York Comic Con. It was when me, Benny, and Sal met for the first time, and Dave. Yeah, we all met for the first time, and all I had ever seen from Benny was when he was on Skype, and Sal was the same way. There was no perspective. There was nothing to compare, like, what they looked like to in terms of like their physical stature. So I meet Benny in the airport at, God, where did we meet up at? I don't remember what airport it was. I think it was in New York. Anyway, so we meet up at an airport, and Benny's like this big guy, like he's broad shouldered, he's like a big hulking guy, and I was like, oh my god, like, that's a big dude. And then we meet Sal, and Sal's like 10 feet tall. Sal is so tall, it's ridiculous. Like it was funny, but it's just one of those weird things, where I guess you just build something up in your head and then things change. We went to New York Comic Con last year, 2014. Let's see. What do I think of the upcoming Deadpool movie and trailer? Oh, you're talking the upcoming trailer. Okay, now are you talking about the trailer that was released at like launch that basically like forced a movie to be made, or are you talking about the upcoming trailer that hasn't been released yet? Because I mean I haven't seen it, I don't know, but if Ryan Reynolds is playing Deadpool, I'll probably be satisfied with it. I can't think of anybody else besides Ryan Reynolds who should play the role of Deadpool. So, Let's see. What if Luke Cage had a high pitched voice? What's going on, guys? This is Luke Cage. I think it'd be hilarious. But let's see. What is your opinion of Renew Your Vows not being canon? Because in my opinion, it makes me angry. Well, Renew Your Vows will be canon. I mean, that's the Spider-Man story going forward during Secret Wars. Like they're retconning all that stuff from One More Day. As far as I understand, that's what Marvel's doing. So Renew Your Vows will be canon as far as I know. I don't think Marvel's released anything saying that it won't be, but if they have, I haven't read it. So if you know of something, then send it to me on Twitter so that I know. Rob, what do you think of the 90s DC versus Marvel? And do you think anything like it will ever happen again? Let's see. I think that'll happen again. I think that they'll do something like that again because it was a big success. I mean, it was a four-part series. It was really cool. It made the amalgam universe, so you had like amalgamations of DC and Marvel characters. I'd be curious to see if like Convergence and Secret Wars have anything to do with that. If at some point down the line during a Convergence and Secret Wars, Marvel says, "Hey, here's the amalgam universe," and Convergence and Secret Wars, I think that'd be kind of cool. I don't think we'll get it, but because I mean we haven't seen that for quite some time. But nonetheless, I think it would be. I think it'd be pretty entertaining. Let's see. But yeah, I'd like to. I'd love to see something like that come back. I mean, for those of you guys who aren't sure what we're talking about with the whole Marvel versus DC thing, there was in the 1990s a four-part limited series called Marvel versus DC, but some of the other stories, some of the older stories before that had crossovers between Marvel and DC, where you had like, I guess, Batman versus the Incredible Hulk. And you had Superman and Spider-Man, which I think was the first Marvel and DC crossover. You had Superman becoming a Herald of Galactus. You had some really, really cool crossover concepts. Some were terrible, some were just absolutely dumb. But nonetheless, it was a really great way for fans of Marvel and DC to sort of bridge this gap and see some of their favorite characters meeting other characters. And I think that was really one of the cool things. I'd love to see it make a return. I think it'd be awesome. Rob, what are your thoughts if heroes, villains do fusion? And I don't mean the crappy fusion, but the perfect kind where all the parts of the fusing individuals are put in perfect place. Are we talking about like Dragon Ball Z fusion? Because if you're talking about like Dragon Ball Z fusion, I want to see Batman and like Batman and Deadpool fused together. Like how awesome would that be? Like it'd be Batman with all his gadgets and like Deadpool's dark sadistic humor. I think it'd be freaking amazing. Um, let's see. Can you talk about Bishop or Cable? For some reason, those characters are always confusing, always going through time. Okay, I get this question a lot, even now, like on the Cable video. A lot of people say they're really confused about Cable. They're not really sure what to do with Cable. And even then, like the Cable video that I did from back in the day was a very early video. Like that was 8 minutes long, and it was one of my earliest videos. I may go back with a lot of those early videos and like revisit them, especially with X-Men '92 coming out. It'd be the perfect time to go back and revision a lot of those things. Yeah, Superman's made a Herald of Galactus. It's really really cool. I I don't remember the name of it, but he meets the Fantastic Four, and Cyborg, and is in that universe and all kinds of stuff. But um, okay, so for those of you guys who are curious, when it comes to Bishop, Bishop is a really interesting character. Bishop comes from a timeline that's very similar to the Days of Future Past, but it's not exact. There's some big differences here. Bishop is God. He's crazy. I'm really really tired, so I'm gonna try to make this make sense as much as I can. Bishop was initially given to us in Marvel Comics, but he's one of these characters where his story comes full circle later on in the comics. All we knew about Bishop's past was that at some point along the line, some mutant killed a million humans. And so as a result, the humans jump started the Sentinel program and we're off to the races. That's how that entire storyline takes place. We end up with this very similar Days of Future Past storyline. The difference here is that there comes a point in Bishop's timeline where you have the Summers Rebellion. And the Summers Rebellion is where humans and mutants rise up together and overthrow the Sentinels. And so what you have left is this very tedious alliance between humans and mutants as they do what they can to basically survive. And so you have the Xavier Security Enforcers, I think it is, XSE or something like that. But nonetheless, prior to this, you had Bishop, who was born into a camp, or I guess he was in one of these internment camps, and that's where the M comes from on his face. It's a brand to indicate that he's a mutant. All right. What happens is Bishop ends up traveling into the past, and as a result, he ends up picking up with the X-Men. Now, we didn't know who this mutant was for like 20 years. Like, we had no idea in Marvel Comics. This is the 1990s or something like that. It's pretty, I think it's mid 90s when Bishop shows up. It wasn't until the Messiah Complex that Marvel came out and said, Hope Summers is the one that killed 1 million humans in Bishop's timeline, or at least that seems to be the case. And so Bishop's entire goal is to capture Hope Summers and basically, I think, kill her before she can kill 1 million humans and give birth to his timeline. But nonetheless, Bishop's he's one of these characters that just bounces through time. But that's the gist of Bishop for the most part in Marvel Comics. Cable is far more ridiculous. To sum up Cable in a very simple way, Cable is the son of Jean Grey and God, I can't remember if I think it's Madeline. I'm pretty sure it's Madeline Pryor. My memory is so hazy right now. But anyway, not Jean Grey. Scott Summers and Madeline Pryor. All right. What happens is almost immediately after Cable is born, he comes to the attention of Apocalypse. And Apocalypse, I can't remember if he wants to take Cable and make him his heir, but whatever the reason is, Apocalypse has his henchman kidnap Cable. And so the X-Men, I guess alongside X-Factor, travel to fight Apocalypse and they get Cable back. In the process, Cable's infected with the techno-organic virus. Now, because Cable's infected with the techno-organic virus, we find that Cable is taken into the future by Rachel Summers. Now, this is why, see guys, this is why Marvel's rebooting their continuity. Rachel Summers, the one that takes him into the future, is the same Rachel Summers from the Days of Future Past. She is time displaced, and that we're not even going to go into that. just believe me when I say that Rachel Summers takes him from the present into the past or into the future. She takes him to like the year 4000 or something like that. At the same time, the minds of Jean Grey and Scott Summers are put in the bodies of two people 4,000 years in the future, whenever it is, so they can raise Cable. All right. As Cable's raised in this society, Apocalypse rules the world. And so because Apocalypse rules the world, Cable's brought up to be an adversary of Apocalypse, to do what he can to free the society from Apocalypse's regime. And so as a result, Cable takes technology from the future and he begins jumping into the past. He travels to a point in the distant past, right when Apocalypse begins, rising to power, and he fights Apocalypse and infects Apocalypse with a techno-organic virus. Because he infects Apocalypse with a techno-organic virus, Apocalypse is able to merge, or communicate with celestial technology, and then from there, he infects Cable with a techno-organic virus when Cable's a child. It's a big circle. It's a self-repeating prophecy. And this is why Marvel is so convoluted. Marvel needs a new 52. That's what all of us are hoping Secret Wars is going to be. Marvel coming out and saying, okay, guys, year zero. This is all year zero. Continuity, start over. That's what we're all really hoping for. Whether we'll get it or not has yet to be seen. But in any event, so let's get to more questions. That's Bishop and Cable. I hope that made sense. I hope that makes sense to you. Years of Future Past, I have no idea. But I'm really excited. I'm really, really excited. Like, I can't wait to read Years of Future Past. What's going on, Jen? What's going on, everybody who's just showing up? Let's see. And Rob's head explodes trying to explain Cable. Yeah, like anybody who tries to explain Cable, like their heads are going to absolutely blow up. It's going to be ridiculous. Yeah, Cable is a paradox. That's exactly it. Like Nolan Summers has it exactly right. What type of remotes do you smoke? Cablevision. I don't. No, I mean this is IPV version 2. I mean, I don't know what you mean. Can I explain Raboom Alal? Our Doctor Doom video covered everything we know about Raboom Alal, basically. That he's Doctor Doom. And he's trying to save the multiverse. Like, that's all we know. I mean, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. So basically, he's his own grandpa. I mean, not really, but no, not really. He's not his own grandpa. That'd be messed up. That would be some screwed up Marvel stuff. If like, God, if he got, you know what? We're not even gonna go there. It's Sunday. This is a church day. We're not gonna go there. So, Heroes Reborn. I doubt we'll do Heroes Reborn. I don't really see a reason to do Heroes Reborn at this point. I mean, it's not necessary. I mean, I guess it. The end is forever. The end of the Fantastic Four. I guess it's kind of necessary, and like Franklin Richards' Dream Dimension, or whatever it is. But all right, for those of you guys who are on the fence, for those of you guys who don't know whether or not you should pick up The End is Forever, and pick up like the ending of the Fantastic Four, don't. It's absolute garbage. I hated it. It's a terrible series of stories. So it really wasn't worth it. Do I think DC versus Marvel Universe will be Battle World Civil War? No, I don't think so. Civil War, as far as I understand it, is going to be like I guess its own contained universe. So we're going to see what it seems to be what happens if Civil War never ended or something like that. We're not really sure here, but I want to see Hulk join the Red Lantern Corps. How awesome would that be? Like the Hulk with a lantern ring? That would be amazing. Let's see. What do I think of TV Little House's name change to Comic Pop? I think it's awesome. I think Sal's made a really good decision here because I think that it pops. And I think that, I don't know. I mean, in the end, it's Sal's channel. He can do whatever he wants to, but I think it's a great idea. I think that with Sal growing in the direction that he is, growing as fast as he is now, I think he was really kind of hankering for something like that, and so I'm glad to see it plays out. When will I do Planet Hulk? I'm not sure. At some point. I mean, some of these stories, in truth, seem to be retellings. It's one of those weird things. What we may have to do is I may just have to read Planet Hulk when it comes out, and then just look at that and see what's up, and then go from there. Not really sure yet. It's really difficult to tell this early with Secret Wars because we don't know if a lot of these stories are going to be retellings. We don't know if a lot of these stories are going to be continuing universes. We don't know if some of these stories are just what if stories that are becoming universes. We're not really sure here. But at this point, it's really just kind of more of a coin toss. So as soon as I get it figured out, I'll definitely let you guys know and give you guys an update. So what is your opinion of Dread 2 not happening? Because it makes me so sad. Oh, I know. Like, Dread was amazing. That was such a great film. And I'm really disappointed they're not doing a sequel to it. I thought that was one of the truest depictions of Judge Dredd from the comics. It was dark. It was gritty. It showed just how bad things were in that society. I really want to see a Dread 2. But even if they don't, I mean, I could still stand by and say that Dread was an amazing film. Let's see. Do you think Spider-Man will make a cameo at the end of Avengers Age of Ultron? Or what do you think the end credit scene will be? I think the end credit scene had something to do with the Age of Ultron. I think it was, or I'm sorry, with Civil War. I think it may have been like a government passing a bill or something like that. But as soon as Marvel got the ability to put Spider-Man in Captain America 3 Civil War, I can guarantee you, like the sun will rise. The post-credit scene for Avengers Age of Ultron is going to have something to do with Spider-Man. If for no other reason, then all it's going to show is a kid being bit by a spider. I mean, maybe that's it. I have no idea what they're going to do, but it's going to have Spider-Man. I can't envision a situation why it wouldn't, because the next biggest movie that Marvel has coming out after Avengers 2 Age of Ultron is Captain America Civil War. That's the next movie everybody's looking forward to. So, let's see. Can I do a special video about Sinestro? I've been meaning to do Sinestro. The problem is Sinestro's full origin story is so difficult to find because it's scattered to the winds. So it's a real hassle. Worst comic book story arc in comic book history? Oh, God. Probably Kill Craven, whatever it is. That's a terrible series of stories. Um, did you hear about Rey Mysterio possibly? I saw that. A friend of mine sent me a message on Facebook, and he was like, "Hey man, like Rey Mysterio like drop kicked a guy to death," and I was like, "No, he didn't." And like he showed me the video, like he sent me a link to the video, and I was like, "Oh my god." Like that's unbelievable, and I think that really is a testament to just how dangerous wrestling can be. See, I think a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people say, "Oh God, wrestling's fake," and to a degree, it is. I mean, obviously, it's a lot of staging. There's a lot of scripting. I mean, none of the situations are real. I mean, a really cool thing to listen to for those of you guys who are curious, listen to Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast because that gives you like a lot of backstory, a lot of an idea of what goes on between the shows you see. You learn that like these rivalries aren't rivalries, that they're people who have been friends for years and years and years and years and years. You know, and it's one of these really cool things. But nonetheless, they're taught how to take falls, they're taught how to fall correctly, how to land on their neck, how to do it in a way to where it keeps them safe. But the problem here is that Boxman 2 just got banned. Yeah, one thing I want you guys to make sure of though is that I have no problem like dropping the ban hammer on people who are going to try to like spam or troll my chat, because I have no mercy for those guys. Anyway, so I mean, they're taught how to take falls, they're taught all that kind of stuff, but accidents happen, and sometimes you know all it takes is a kick the wrong way, and that's it. And that's what happened to him. That's what happened to this guy. You know, Rey Mysterio was performing a routine maneuver, something that he's done countless times. I've been following Rey Mysterio since he showed up in WCW. I mean, he's been wrestling for about 20 years now, for a long time. He's done this move thousands, hundreds of thousands of times. And this one time, it just happened to land this guy the wrong way, and it killed him. And that's a real disappointment because, you know, it's always sad to see somebody dying in the midst of something they love to do. I guess there's kind of this bittersweet thing to it, but you know, the loss of life in a tragic way is always a disappointing thing. So, the best Marvel story arc, Civil War, hands down. Civil War is the best Marvel story arc of all time, just because, again, like I love the whole thing about the debate and the argument of who's right, you know, who comes out on top. That's you know the whole politics of it. I think that's pretty solid. Um, Please mercy, Rob shows no mercy. Some guy was just like typing letters in the chat, and I was like, you know what? I'll just ban that guy. The heck with it. Um, let's see. Any redemption for Ghost Rider movie? No. Nicolas Cage destroyed the Ghost Rider franchise. Like if Marvel's smart, they'll never ever touch Ghost Rider. They'll say, you know what? Like we're just gonna lock this into in a vault, and we're gonna pretend it doesn't exist. That's what I would do. Which I hope that's what they do. So. What material is the Infinity Gauntlet made out of? Just wondering because he slapped Cap's shield into pieces, or was he able to do that because of the stones? He was able to do that because of the stones. It wasn't. It wasn't because of the material. It wasn't. It wasn't like a super strong, like polyester or something like that. It's because he had like a vast amount of power. But then again, it also could just be because of Thanos. Like I don't think I've ever seen Thanos slap Captain America's shield to pieces like he did in Infinity Gauntlet when he didn't have the Infinity Gauntlet. But that's because that circumstance never arose before. Infinity War is good, but Infinity War is good if you want the follow up to Infinity Gauntlet. If you want to find out what happens with the Infinity Watch, Infinity War has nothing to do with the upcoming film in the Marvel Universe. So that's the reason why I stopped. There was no point in doing it because when I uploaded the first video, like people watched it, they watched the first like minute and a half, and as soon as I said this is a follow-up to Infinity Gauntlet and has nothing to do with the Infinity War film, like people started dropping off like flies. So let's see. Hold on, I gotta scroll back up. How would you feel if in Thor Ragnarok, when everything is destroyed, and reborn, it shows the inscription of the hammer changing he to she? I think that'd be awesome. I think that'd be a great thing, especially if Chris Hemsworth decides he doesn't want to do Thor anymore. If he says that Thor Ragnarok is going to be his last film and they're killing off Thor Odin's son, and they simply just refer to him as Odin's son, they could have somebody else step into the role. Now, I think having Jane Foster do it would be too cliche, and Natalie Portman would not make a good action star in a film. She's really good at drama. She's good at like every other facet of acting. She's just not really good at action because I don't think she's really been put in that role before. She's always played the kind of drama character, I guess, or like a character in a romance capacity. But nonetheless, I think with the right circumstance, maybe she'd be good. But I think like Lady Sif, for example, would be a great person to take over the role of Thor. Or they may just introduce somebody new entirely. But I think that that bringing in a new version, bringing in a new version of Thor would be a great idea. So if I could pick an actor, if I could pitch an actor for Adam Warlock, who would it be? Sean Bean. Well, no, not Sean Bean. Sean Bean would be a terrible Adam Warlock. No, Sean Bean would be a good Adam Warlock because of the role that Adam Warlock plays. So he doesn't really do a whole lot of fighting. Adam Warlock doesn't really do a whole lot of fighting. Every once in a while he does, but usually he's like this philosophical, Christ-like figure. So, let's see. What would be the best comic character to have as your president? Ooh, Captain America, probably. I think he'd do the most justice. um, what is your opinion on Invincible, and will you do an explain video on the series? I actually haven't read Invincible, so I don't know. How would you feel? Hold on a second. How would you feel that the real Shield revealed in the last episode of Agents of Shield is led by the original White Nick Fury? Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? If, oh my God, if they said this is the real Shield, like the other Shield is a fake Shield, that's just a cover, like they're all life model decoys. If he was like, this is the real Shield, and it's just like the White Nick Fury with an eye patch, that would be nuts. I don't think they'll do that. Because one, it would confuse people, and two, people would say, why isn't Samuel Jackson playing Nick Fury anymore? Why is he being replaced with a white guy? And you would run into all kinds of politics and things like that. I think that what's been happening here is in Marvel Comics. All right, here's the comic version of what's going on in Agents of Shield right now. There was a point where Hydra had taken over S.H.I.E.L.D. and it was disbanded, but the more relevant fact here, I guess the more comic booky version of what's going on in the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now with that is, hold on a second. I hate that. I hate that. You have a sneeze, like I just got trolled by a sneeze, like it's sitting in your nose and it's like, never mind. It's like, oh my God. But anyway, so what happened in the comics is Nick Fury had previously, when he was the head of Shield, the director of Shield, he never actually was in charge of Shield. He got his orders from 12 anonymous people. The problem was, as time progressed, life model decoys became sentient. They gained intelligence, and so they took over these 12 people. And then when Nick Fury figured out what was going on, they branded Nick Fury a traitor, and they exiled Nick Fury from Shield, and then sent Shield after Nick Fury to kill Nick Fury. The result was that once Nick Fury had defeated this entire thing, once he had ended this conflict, he had taken over Shield entirely, and he was the absolute, nose troll. He was the absolute director of Shield. He had absolute authority over Shield. I think that's what's happening here. I think Nick Fury went underground. He said, okay. He basically started to ban sneeze. I'm gonna ban sneeze in here in a minute. I'm gonna ban the heck out of it. I think he reformed Shield while he was underground. I think that's what's going to be revealed to us in Age of Ultron, because it's really coincidental. They say this is the real Shield, and then Age of Ultron is coming out right now. So I think that's really what happened. Is Nick Fury reformed Shield and has been keeping it a secret this entire time. But I don't know. After Convergence, will the DC title start from the beginning? Not to my knowledge. As far as I know, the New 52 continuity that came with Convergence, or that started before Convergence, is staying. So as far as I mean, like Batman Eternal, for example, will be, I guess, coming back or continuing on or what have you, after Convergence. But no, I don't think they're starting all over again after Convergence. They may, but I don't believe they are. Let's see. Can you do a behind the scene video on how you make your videos? I did that once upon a time. Nobody was really that interested in it, so I didn't worry about it. What do I think? Flash versus Quicksilver? Oh, the Flash. The Quicksilver is super fast, so you can run it like Mach 10, which I think is like 1,100 miles an hour or something like that. Flash can break this, like, he can run faster than the speed of light. Like, he can travel through time. So, yeah. Definitely the Flash. Darth Vader versus Batman video. That would be amazing. I would love to see that. Let's see. Who would you pick as the new Spider-Man? Oh, man. I don't know. Honestly, if he wasn't doing the Fantastic Four, I'd say Michael B. Jordan would be a great Miles Morales. He's a little older, but I think he'd still be pretty effective in that role. Let's see. Do a Thanos cosplay? No, I'm not doing a Thanos cosplay. That's not going to happen. Matthew McConaughey as Adam Warlock? No way. What is your opinion of the Ultimate Universe ending this year? Because in my opinion, I think the Ultimate Universe is going to get screwed over. It probably will, but the Ultimate Universe needed to come to an end. At this point, I just don't really care about the Ultimate Universe. Miles Morales is really the only character that I care about from the Ultimate Universe. Everybody else is just kind of like, meh. Doesn't really interest me too much. Let's see. Hi, when will Mr. Sunday join you in the weekly pool? I think you invited him via tweet. Yes. We're going to try to have him on the first week in April. That's what we're planning for. So, yeah, that'll be awesome having Mr. Sunday movies on. Like, I'm really looking forward to it. So, I have heard a rumor that Quicksilver is also Inhuman. True or false? Yes, it's true, and it's stupid. I can't remember which issue of the X-Men. I think it was the X-Men. But Scarlet Witch uses her powers, and she basically, like, I think she destroys everybody, or she knocks everybody down or something like that, except for her family or something like that. I can't remember what it is. And Magneto's affected by it. And so that's Marvel telling us that Magneto's not their father and that they're Inhumans. And I'm like, oh my God, you know what? Whatever. So it was a boneheaded decision. It was a way to basically take them away from being mutants and to just throw them in the Inhuman pond. That way they can just kind of roll it all in to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Not the best decision. I mean, Marvel was like, no, the movies don't influence the conflict or the comics, and the comics don't influence the movies, but it's quite clear that they do. Let's see. You have an encyclopedic knowledge of the DC and Marvel comic book universes. Is this done simply through reading research, or do you also have an assistant that helps out? No, it's just me. I'm the only person that does my videos. Like, nobody else works on my videos except for me, and it'll stay that way for the foreseeable future. I don't want anybody else working on my videos because for me, I think that I like things done in a very particular way, but more so than that, I think it makes it more personal if it's just me working on my videos. But nonetheless, I mean, it's whatever. I mean, in the end, I mean, it's whatever makes people happy. When is the next Wired poll? Oh, Weird poll. The end of the month, I think. I don't remember off the top of my head. Let's see. Rob, who do you think would be the villain in the Captain Marvel movie? See, that's the problem. Carol Danvers doesn't have like a arch nemesis per se, at least not that I know of. That's one of the reasons why Carol Danvers was always such a character that people just never really got behind, because it was never like, oh my God, that one foe's back. Let's see if she can beat them. Like, it was never really like that. She was fighting like this broad sense of feminism in comic books, or I guess anti-feminism in comic books, and so it's people really couldn't get behind her character, but nonetheless, let's see, who should be Pip the Troll? I'm not going to talk about that. Best MCU movie so far, Iron Man 1. Just because it started it all. I can watch Iron Man 1 multiple times, and it's always my favorite. So, do I have tickets for Age of Ultron? No, but I need to buy them. Oh my God, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I guarantee the midnight showing is going to be sold out. So I definitely need to get online and buy those tickets. I mean, we have like a month. They may not even be out yet now that I think about it, but yeah, I definitely need to get those. Let's see. I heard the Inhumans movie may get canned to make room for Spider-Man and allow Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to focus on their introduction of the MCU. I don't know anything about that. It'd be disappointing if it was. I would love to see the Inhumans movie come out. I'd be disappointed if they canceled it, but I don't want to see that. I definitely want to see like an Inhumans film. I want to see Vin Diesel play Black Bolt and whoever else play Medusa and so on and so forth. But I really want to see an Inhumans film because it'd be a great way to introduce one of the richest continuities of Marvel Comics into the MCU. The Inhumans are wildly underrated in Marvel Comics. And the reason why the Inhumans never really shined the way they could have was because they were considered to be like a poor man's X-Men, like a poor man's mutant group, kind of like a knockoff. But with the mutants more or less being eliminated entirely, kind of being cast out, I think it'd be a great idea to keep the Inhumans around. Let's see. Oh my God, 11 movie marathon, insane. God, I wish they had that around here somewhere. That'd be awesome to go see. I got tickets. I live in the UK. Is the DC Cinematic Universe part of the DC Comics universe? I think so, but I'm not 100% sure. If it is, though, it'll be confirmed in Convergence. That'll tell us if that's actually the case. But anyway, guys, so we're at the 45-minute mark. Like I said, this was going to be kind of short. I am running on fumes. I am definitely tired. But the good thing is, I've done all kinds of research for the Deadpool thing. So here's my question for you guys. Here's what I wanted to ask you guys before I took off. When it comes to DC and Convergence, there's going to be a lot going on. Or I guess Marvel, and I guess Secret Wars and Convergence. We know that Secret Wars is going to last like 6 months, I think, and Convergence is going to last a couple months. Initially, what I'll probably end up doing, or what I'm considering doing, is doing 2 videos a day, one for DC and one for Marvel. And let me know if that's something you guys would be interested in, because I'm kind of curious. But I'll give you guys some time here to answer. But I'm curious, how do you guys feel about that? Would you guys be interested in seeing 2 videos a day, or would that be too much? I can't say they're going to be 20-minute videos just because the stories are going to be so short. But nonetheless, I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be pretty interesting to see 2 videos a day. I don't know how long it'll last because that's a really easy way to get burned out, but I still think it'd be kind of cool. So let me know. Let me know what you guys think about that, about doing 2 videos a day. But anyway, Forge explained. But yeah, so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and bring this episode to an end. I know, again, it was a short one, and a lot of you guys are getting here. I'm sorry, but I'm running on like 2 hours of sleep, and I am totally exhausted. So yeah, I will catch you guys later. Peace.